So Jeff, tell me, what is this product that you made?
This was designed to basically keep your car bumper and another car bumper apart from one another. It's really simple, and you can see it's a license plate frame that happens to be solid steel, and it has this rounded guard that's encased in rubber and a brace in the middle here. So it goes on the back where your license plate is. You'll discard the current license plate frame if you have one, and you just use the existing license plate screws that you have, and you put it onto your car, and it keeps other cars this is about 4 inches. So if your license plate is recessed in, we accounted for that, and it keeps another car about 4 inches away from your bumper, so it never comes into contact, and it doesn't get those annoying dings and scratches.
So tell me what the difference is with this compared to those mats and stuff like that.
Sure. The mats, basically you have to take it out every time, presumably after you're done parking, and it's stored in the trunk, and then you have to take it out, and then when you're getting ready to leave, you have to first remember to put it back in. I have seen these things driving all over the city, and people just forget, or they think it's just easier because they're going to go to another parking spot to just leave it on and leave it where it is, because it's an inconvenience to have to take it out every time and put it in every time. However, those companies on their sites, you'll oftentimes see a disclaimer or a warning that says do not drive with it on. If you drive with it on, first of all, it's flapping, and you have these straps so it can damage the bumper. Then it can also cover over the exhaust. So if it covers over the exhaust, then the fumes occupy the compartment of the car, and the warnings on those sites say it can cause injury or death, all just to try and protect your bumpers. The other thing, of course, is that if it comes into contact with the exhaust, not only can it create damage or injury to a person or to the bumper, but the exhaust is extremely hot. So when rubber comes into something very hot, it will melt it or will cause it to go on fire. And I actually have pictures of cars where you can see that the mat is almost touching the exhaust while they're driving, or others which is more of a pad which came into contact with a muffler, and you can see that it's charred. So that can be quite dangerous. Not only not protecting your bumper, but causing damage. And then you have to buy the whole thing all over again if you even want to go with that kind of protection, which, you know, I think would be questionable at that point, but that's at the discretion of the person. So you have taking it out, putting it in. You know, we're in the city here, or in other metropolitan areas where we have rain and snow and other things. Who wants to stand out in the middle of the snow or the rain, taking out or putting in a protector? Some of the pads, for example, require you to, it's on like it wraps around the bumper, so it gives good protection, but it goes around the wheel wells.
Right.
And so it has to adhere through an elastic. Thank you, it's an elastic. So it's an elastic cord that goes around the wheel wells. So you have to sit there with your hands and go into the wheel wells and put it in every time, or put it out every time. Also, those pads are huge. So while they afford good protection, you have to store it someplace. It'll take up your whole trunk. Also, and like with the rubber mats, if your license plate is in the bumper area, you can't use those on the public streets because they will block from public view the license plate. And you're not allowed to do that in New York. And in most other states and cities, there's a law. You want to have the license plate in public view. So you can't obscure it. Some now have an area where the consumer can go now and cut out the rubber and spend time altering the mat, which doesn't look too good to me, but they've tried to accommodate for it, but it's not really, it still doesn't quite do the job. So the point is that all these things require a lot of handling. Once you put this on, you put it on and you forget it. With 4Bumpers, it's on 24/7. So whether you're the one who's coming into contact with the other car or vice versa, it doesn't make a difference. This is on, you don't have to think about it. Snow, rain, it will not come into contact with the exhaust because it's screwed in where the license plate is. So all those risks, all those dangers that they warn about, and all the handling are non-issues for 4Bumpers. it's good because it can go in two positions. If it goes in this position, all the way down here in the lower position, it may be too low. So because this is so low, you'll see that if it hits here, or if this guy hits you, it's going to go right here. Because it's encased in rubber, it's not going to hurt this piece, and it's not going to hurt this guy's bumper. You feel that? Do you see that 4Bumpers unit there? It's almost unnoticeable unless you really go up to it, or you're looking at it at a different angle, or you're in the car and you're backing up and you feel it physically hitting the other bumper, or vice versa. So it's just so seamless, and it's so sleek that it's really just, I think, far and above any other alternative on the market, and just it's a great product in and of itself because it's so sleek, and it looks good, which I think is the other thing. It just looks so sleek that even when we were with your car before, unless you're looking at it and you're really looking to find it, it's difficult to really see because it's sleek looking versus the mats and the pads and things like that, which are so obvious, and I think personally detract from the appearance of the car. So it's kind of, it's interesting because in the one sense people want to have protection so that their car looks good, but at the same time when you use those other products, in my opinion, those products make the car look not so good. It covers so many bases that those other products don't. In addition to the fact that this does not cover over the license plate. So you can clearly see the license plate. It's designed that way. It's just a license plate frame here. That you're not going to get the tickets that some of those other people are getting, and we're getting reports, and I have quite a few letters from people that show that they're getting tickets for covering over the license plate. So this really does a great job in so many respects.
The great thing about this also is that you can use it in the front and the back.
Right. So
opposed to the other one.
Sure, the other products that have to be attached to the car usually are on straps or that elastic mechanism. They're only designed, well, the straps, for example, with the rubber mats that flip out, those straps, as I understand it, have to be kind of anchored into the trunk using a Velcro system. Because of that, you can't use it where the engine is. So in most cars in America, for example, it's in the front unless you have a rear-engine vehicle like a old Volkswagen Beetle or a Porsche or something like that, which is rear-engine. You can't have those straps in the engine compartment. So wherever the engine is, you can't get, or you shouldn't get, bumper protection from those devices because they warn against it. This, on the other hand, is good for the front bumper. It's good for the rear bumper regardless of where your engine is, because it doesn't require any stripes. It's all self-contained, and it goes into the area where your license plate is, using, in most circumstances, the pre-existing license plate screws that you had holding on your license plate. Sometimes I get questions about, will this damage another person's car? And so the answer to that is it shouldn't, because we've designed this in two ways. One is we have this encased in rubber. The rubber serves two functions. One, it protects this unit, which is powder coated. So when somebody else comes into contact with you or the other way around, they're going to come into contact with the rubber. So it's soft and it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt this unit, and it's not going to hurt the other car because it's rubber. After all, bumpers used to have rubber. So that's why we encased it in rubber, so that it doesn't hurt anybody else's car, because that's not what we want to do. Although I've been asked to put spikes on it. And there is a device out there in the Patent and Trademark Office that does have spikes, surprisingly. But no, we just want to keep bumpers nice and clean, and that's why we have encased it.